Guys, this is Eventually Elle, and I am that 50 something who will be taking a sabbatical year in France. So, if things about travel over 50, solo travel, France, if any of those things interest you, please like and subscribe to my channel. So, this is a little bit of a story time. So, I want to tell you about one story that I think is funny. You can tell me if you think it's funny about my recent trip to France. And so here's the thing. So I went all over. I had an amazing time. I'm going to talk to you about that in another video. But today I want to tell you about my little swiping. I don't know if any of you are into swiping online when you travel. I think it's fun, especially if you're solo traveling. You got to be careful because you don't want to end up on the news. But in this case, I like the app Happen. It's kind of cool because I think they use it a lot in Europe. I've tried it here in California, not very good. But in Europe, basically, it takes your geolocation, and I guess it's kind of like Grindr in the sense that you have where your location is, and if people walked in your neighborhood or wherever you were, let's say you're in a cafe, whatever, it'll like show them on the screen, and so you can like or whatever. And they don't know where you are specifically, but they just know that somewhere they were today, whether it's at Target or whatever, you were somewhere in their location at some point. And so it's kind of nice because you can say that people who like the same things as you do will show up. So let's say you're at the museum, somebody who likes the museum, I mean, they don't show it at the exact same time, so it's not a safety risk, but it might have happened at some point in the day. So, all this to say, I went on Happen and I got a match. And so, this doesn't necessarily happen in the States this way because I do online dating periodically. I swipe, it all becomes a virtual pen pal situation where nobody wants to go out, nobody wants to do anything. So, uh, you know, so I'm kind of used to this. But in France, in Paris, I swiped, I got a date. He was like, "Hey, do you want to go out for a drink?" And I was like, "Yeah." And actually, no, I'll tell this. Okay. So I said, "Sure." So we started chatting a little bit and whatever. And he wants to get together. And he's somewhat local ish because, again, we're in this geo range. And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." He suggested a cafe. I said, "Great." We went out for what do you call it? A verre du vin. We had a nice glass of wine, super nice. And he tells me he's a dentist. And the funny thing about this is that in the week prior, I was in Sicily, and I have never eaten so much food in my life as in Italy. I'm thinking these people are food addicts or something because at all times of the day I am either eating, drinking, nibbling, sipping, I don't know, but like my mouth. And I was watching kids, and the kids are all eating at all times. And I was like, so definitely I ate more than I've ever eaten in Europe or ever eaten in my life in Italy. And so I was so we have this. So we went to this really quaint town. It was called Ortigia, and I guess it's well known because they have this open market and they have these big ass sandwiches that are probably like this big or something. And so in Ortigia, I had this, and it was like filled with like five kinds of meat, like salami, prosciutto, ham, whatever, big ass sandwich, and I'm just like crunching down, and then one of my back teeth cracks and I find it in my, whatever on my plate. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I have some of my tooth. And so it never happened because I get good oral hygiene. So then, I saved my tooth, and so this dentist prior, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a this guy I went on this happened to." He's like, "Oh yeah, I just happened to be a cosmetic dentist," and I was like, "That's so weird because I just had this tooth issue this week." And so we started talking about it, and I should also say that when I had mentioned to some friends of mine about getting dental help, they're like, "Girl, you should get it done in Europe because it's going to be half the price that it is, or way less, like way less than the States." And so I knew this was expensive, and my sister was like, you could maybe need a root canal. All this could be thousands of dollars. So I knew this, and I'd actually made an appointment already with someone, a dentist in Paris, to look at it. But then I got super busy, and I wasn't able to do it. So anyway, date with the guy went well. He was, into talking about my tooth, showing me his dental work. I was like, cool. So then the next day he was like, hey, he texted me. He's like, I'll be happy to fix your tooth if you want. And so I really didn't know him. I went out with him for an hour and I said, okay. And he's like, well, I'm super busy this week. I was only there for 4 days. He's like, well, why don't you come in on Saturday and I'll do it? And, I kind of was a little, now in the States, somebody that you only went out once with, you would never go to their house, probably. At least I wouldn't go to their house because there's too many girls that are gone missing. Um, and so I said, well, is there anybody else? He's like, no, no, no. I'll just, just come in on Saturday and I'll do it. And so I was a little like very reticent because I'm not trying to be a gone girl. So I was really worried about it, and I thought, well, I really need my tooth fixed, and it's going to be like way less expensive than the States, but yet I don't want to be come missing. And so that night, I was like, tossing and turning in bed, like, oh, I probably shouldn't do it because this is very risky, and I'm alone, and he knows I'm a solo traveler. And I called my girlfriend who lived in Paris. I was like, what do you think? I actually called a couple of my girlfriends, and they were like, oh, I go for it. I was like, really? Like, yeah, yeah. I was like, I guess I will do anything for a cheap crown. So that day, it was so funny. I was gonna wear a dress, a really cute little dress. And I was like, oh my God, all these thoughts are going through my brain. I could be like date rape, roofied, get the gas mask over me, and like, end up, in a tunnel dead. All the thoughts were going through my brain because this is how I am, and also it's a reality of like being a woman. And so, um, what happened? So I was gonna wear a dress, and instead I wore like this, like I intentionally wore like this, like shirt that had like buttons in the back, jeans that zipped up, boots. I was like, I'm gonna fight for my life, but I'm gonna get a free crown too. So it tells you a little bit about life in the States. What you're willing to do. So I'm all like sweating bullets. I'm like walking on my way. Took the train. He kind of lives like on the outskirts of Paris a little bit. I'm like, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So I get to, he's like, oh, just ring my buzzer when you get there. And I'm imagining like this long hallway of all these consecutive doors that are going to like close, close, close. And it's going to be a ringer's kind of a thing. I get in there. He's like, oh, hey, hi. There's a big front desk at the front. There's some guy at the front desk. There's some lady who's checking out. She's paying her bill. It's all bright and light. And there's like people milling about. And so I felt suddenly at ease. And, so we sit down in the thing, and now I'm all, giggly and happy, and realizing he's probably not going to gas mask or roofie me. And and he did my crown, and he did it for free, which was super nice. And so there is a moral to the story, and the moral to the story is uh, Americans do a lot of shit for cheap dental care. So that's my moral to the story. All right. So if you have any thoughts on this, maybe you can tell me if you think that was incredibly risky behavior, if you have had something similar to that happen in the past. What else would you want to tell me about? I don't know. I don't know. Tell me any funny dating stories you've had abroad. Let me know. I'd love to hear them in the comments. Thank you so much, and please subscribe to my channel.